Get on your knees, hands behind your head now. The voice sharp and laced with venom sliced through the space station's dull hum. Security Warden Jax pressed the cold barrel of his stun pistol against the back of Dr. Elias Vance's head, the crisp white silk of his suit jacket bunching under the pressure. You think you can just waltz through my station? With a data module full of contraband, he sneered, the slur hanging heavy in the air. We're going to find out what filth you're peddling. But what Jax was about to find in that leather briefcase wasn't illegal biocurrency or black market memory cores. It was a truth that would shatter his world and expose a rot that went to the very core of the station's administration. The atmosphere in Orbital Hub, or Sigma-7, was a sterile cocktail of recycled air, polished chrome, and the faint, anxious sweat of 1,000 travelers. For Elias Vance, it was the first breath he'd taken in his new residence, the star system of Etheria. He just stepped off the non-stop jump ship from the capital planet, a 12-rotation journey that marked the end of one chapter of his life and the beginning of another. The white silk suit he wore was a concession to the system's high-gravity formality. In his right hand, he carried a simple, elegant leather briefcase containing the two most important data drives of his career. He was scanning the crowd for the system official who was supposed to meet him when a shadow fell over him. Hold it right there. Voice was young, aggressive, and reeked of cheap authority. Elias turned slowly. Standing before him was Security Warden Jax, a man who saw the expensive suit, the confident posture, and the color of Elias's skin, and concluded he was a threat. What's in the bag? Jax demanded. Elias offered a calm, measured smile. It's just my personal effects papers. A book, I'll be the judge of that. Jax snapped. Pop it open. Elias's smile didn't falter. With all due respect, Warden, you have no probable cause to search my private property. I've just de-jumped like every other passenger. I haven't committed any crime. The word crime seemed to trigger Jack's probable cause. My probable cause is a man dressed like a damn smuggling lord. Trying to look casual, you fit the profile, pal. There is no legal definition of a smuggling lord profile. Warden Elias stated, his tone remaining even. You need a reasonable articulable suspicion. Simply walking through an arrival hub does not meet that standard. Jax, his face crimson, unholstered his stun pistol. I'm not asking any more on the ground now. Elias met his gaze. Warden, you are making a catastrophic mistake. I suggest you reconsider the legality and the consequences of your next action. But Jax was beyond reason. He lunged forward, grabbing Elias's jacket and pressing the cold metal of the pistol against the back of his head. Get on your knees, hands behind your head now. The briefcase slipped from Elias's hand. Data slates and recording lights blinked around them. Warden Jax, thinking he was a hero, was recording the final moments of his own career. Elias did not flinch. Warden, you are now committing aggravated assault, he said, his voice clear for the surrounding cameras. I am complying with your unlawful commands under duress. Due to the threat of lethal force, Jax laughed, restraining Elias's arms behind his back. Let them record. They can show the whole system how we deal with scum like you. He kicked the briefcase. What you got in there, huh? Black market biodata, illicit neuromods. When Jax attempted to move him to a private interrogation module, Elias planted his feet. Negative, Warden. We will conduct whatever business you feel you have with me here in public view. Jax tried to pull him. That wasn't a request according to your own orbital security protocol? Elias countered, citing the specific departmental regulation. Regulation 502.8 subsection C. Any non-exigent detention must be conducted in situ. To ensure transparency, moving me to a secondary, private location would be a direct violation of your department's own stated policy. The crowd stared. Jax froze, the color draining from his face. The suspect knew his own rules. Panic replaced his confidence, and he desperately turned back to the briefcase, needing the contraband inside to vindicate his illegal actions. Elias gave a final intimate warning. If you open that case, I assure you that your life will be irrevocably changed by what you find inside. There will be no going back. Jax smirked, mistaking the warning for a bluff. He laid the briefcase on the floor and flipped it open. The crowd leaned in. Inside, there was no contraband, only a slim data pad, a manila folder, and a leather-bound copy of The Art of War. Frantically, Jax rummaged, desperate for a hidden data module. His fingers found a fine leather wallet tucked into the lid. He pulled it out, eyes wide with hope. Inside was a credential holder. The ID photo was of Elias Vance. Beneath the name were 5 words that stopped his heart. Director of System Security, Etheria. On the other side was a massive platinum 8-pointed director's badge. The man he had called boy and scum. The man whose head he had a gun to was his new boss. The realization crashed down. He hadn't been a hero cop. He had committed felony assault on the single most powerful law enforcement official in the system. The credential holder clattered to the floor. Jackson's legs gave out and he crumpled to his knees. "Oh my God," he whispered, looking up at Elias, seeing his judge director, "Sir, I didn't know I was just following protocol." It was a mistake. Elias's voice was cold and professional. "You called me boy. You called me scum and filth. You pressed a loaded sidearm to the back of my head. Which of those actions, Warden Jax, was part of your protocol?" Jax fumbled to unlock the restraints. As they fell away, two figures pushed through the crowd. Hub Security Chief Jacobson and Warden Jax's Commander Thorne. Jacobson picked up the badge, his face draining of color before he handed it to Thorne, who snapped to attention Director Vance. "Welcome to the system, sir. I apologize profusely for this situation." Thorne said, "What is required is that you immediately relieve Warden Jax of his sidearm and his badge and place him in investigative detention pending a full inquiry." Elias commanded. Thorne obeyed. Instantly, Jax was escorted away. Stripped of his authority, Elias was driven to the central precinct. He immediately demanded Jack's complete service record. From the Office of System Accountability, he read the 20 pages of complaints. Excessive force, racial profiling, illegal searches, every single one was marked unsubstantiated. Officer exonerated, he had a reputation. Sir Thorne confirmed I recommended disciplinary action once, but it was overruled by the chief warden. He called Jax proactive. Elias then commanded a full statistical analysis. The data was irrefutable. The chart showed an 88% arrest rate of marginalized Sector 4 residents in a diverse patrol zone. They showed a staggering 48% case dismissal rate. Nearly half his arrests were illegal or baseless. Most damningly, the data proved Jack's pattern of misconduct. Every time a citizen complained of excessive force, Jax filed a countercharge of resisting authority to discredit the victim. He wasn't proactive, he was a predictable bully. Protected by a system that overlooked his abuses, he was an incompetent one. Elias concluded he was harassing people, making bad arrests and wasting the system's time and money. The next morning at the formal departmental hearing, Commander Thorne presented the viral video and the statistical indictment. Elias turned to the chief warden who had enabled Jax. "Does this look like proactive policing to you, or does it look like a man who was terrorizing a segment of our community?" With the department's tacit approval, "I may have been mistaken in my assessment," the chief warden stammered. "You were negligent," Elias corrected. He fixed his gaze on the broken man. "Warden Jax, you are a disgrace to the badge you wore. Your actions were the culmination of a long and sordid career built on bullying and bigotry. Effective immediately, your employment with this system security department is terminated." Elias was not finished. Furthermore, "I'm turning over the entire contents of this investigation, the videos, the personnel file, the statistical analysis, to the system prosecutor's office for criminal prosecution. You will be charged for your assault on me, and I'm recommending they open a full investigation into every case you have ever tainted. This is not the end of your consequences. Mr. Jax, it is the beginning." Elias Vance, the new director, had spent his first 2 days exposing the cancer in his department. The offender was justly punished, and the campaign for reform was underway.